Hey guys, welcome back to the Hype Mind.
So something new to myself recently is a theory called the upper limits problem. And we're going to explore that today and discuss it as a technique for you to be able to avoid states of negativity and depression and states of just all around low energy. So the upper limits problem I read about in a book. I got it right here. So why not pull it down off the shelf? Conscious Loving by the Hendricks, the Sir and the Mrs.
Mhm.
And basically it talks about how the upper limits problem is your mind and body will automatically drop you back into a low state once you reach a certain high. Basically, you have set a limit without knowing it. So subconsciously, you've set a limit for a max state of mind. And once you hit there, you will automatically trigger that switch and you will drop yourself back
Can you give
down
an
to
example of that type of state of mind?
Yeah, I can. I was at a party a year ago. I'd been invited to a celebration for a graduation from college for a bunch of nursing students, and I was having a great time, and it was going really well. And I had just read about this problem recently, so I didn't think about how it was actually going to take toll until afterwards, and I didn't even know it took toll until it did. But at one point in the party, some of my friends were like, "Hey, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go hiking." And I was like, "Cool, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to go," because they were inviting me. And I said, let me know when you get there, and I'll take off from here. I'm just gonna, wrap it up here and have a little more fun myself. And they never reached out to me. And what I didn't realize was, even though it doesn't look like that, that was actually the upper limits problem occurring, right? I was in such a state of good mood where all these good things were happening. I just struck a bargain with one of the guys who was there on a deal for something I wanted, and I'd gotten a really better price than I wanted, and I was having fun, and there was free food and good friends and all this good stuff, right? And I was in just a state of ecstasy. And what I didn't realize was I was maxing out on that high positive energy. And yeah, they didn't tell me they went to the beach. They didn't send me that text, right? And that was my trigger. Without realizing it, I had set myself up to be knocked down, right? And so instead of recognizing that was going to bother me, that was something that I don't like, is when I ask someone to reach out to me and they don't, or when I don't hear from someone when they tell me they will. I didn't realize I'd actually set myself up for a plummet, and that's what happened. My mood went down. I was like, wow, geez, they didn't reach out to me. I guess they really aren't my friends, yada, 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 right?
Right. So like
And
it was your expectations that really went
right. But you don't
really
realize
went up there.
it. Basically, this theory is a concept you have to kind of pick up and just go with and create it into a new belief of yours. Because once you do that, it makes sense. From an outside perspective, it'll make sense, but you might just think it's hearsay or something. But when you actually apply it to your life, you realize, oh, actually, I do knock myself down every time, but it's for a good reason, or it's because of someone else. But really, it's not. It actually is yourself doing that to yourself, and it is because of that upper limit switch where you've reached your max capacity for positive energy, so to speak. But that's not where I want to go with this, right? You can do with that idea as you want. It's something that I think is very beneficial to be aware of, because there's only good things that happen from you accepting that as that upper limit problem.
Kind of like a tool you can use.
Yeah,
in your experiences.
The good things that result from that are you pay more attention to what might cause you to go downhill, and you'll come to expect a decline if you're not careful. And so you'll tread more carefully, and you'll be like, okay, what might I do in the near future that would put me down if I'm not careful, right? So it just has a lot of positive benefits on you being careful about what kind of actions you take, and being aware that overall, just being aware that you might come down off this high, that you are going to come down off this high. I mean, of course you have to. Eventually
Right.
you're going to come down off a high. But that's not what we want to talk about. But if you have any thoughts, share them, Dan.
Yeah, I do. Are you talking about a specific type of high, or
Nope.
honestly a high in
Yeah.
general? Okay.
Yep, in
Yeah. So
general.
I mean, yeah, that's the cycle of life. Is we're gonna go through life, and there's gonna be highs and lows, and knowing how to handle them is key to finding peace in that moment, not letting
Yeah.
that disrupt your life.
Money. And that's the benefit of the upper limits problem, is when you recognize the upper limits problem and make it a part of your life, then you're able to know that the high is going to end, know that you're probably going to be the one to kill your high subconsciously, and you're able to just plan for that. You're able to plan for that trigger point. You're able to look out for that trigger point, maybe avoid it, and plan for it as you do come down. But there's a bigger thing that we want to talk about that is
Yeah.
so much more beneficial. And
I think this is great perspective, though, for on your life in general, because most of the time we're shooting for that high, and just to go higher and higher and higher, and just to actually realize and accept that that's not going to happen all the time, right? That we're going to come out of a low after a high. That's just how it goes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Our natural tendency is just to go as high as we can.
Well, and a step further than that, right? Because we continually seek for the next best, better, greatest thing, right? And so to know that you're going to go into a low eventually is important to know. But even more than that, to know that you're the one who's probably going to trick yourself into that low is also possibly even more critical. But I want to move on.
Okay.
So the other thing, and this is where I'm going to ask you to pull up that image of the sine wave, right? Most people view their life as a kind of as what you're going to see in the graph here. They're going to be like, oh yeah, life is a cycle of highs and lows. Life is positive, down, right? And it kind of looks like this wave. So I'm going to introduce a new idea to you that this book introduced along with the upper limits problem that will, and I promise you this, will dramatically change your life if you implement this. I implemented this into my life and my mindset when I first finished this book, and it has been life-changing for me. And that is that you're actually living with the wrong belief. Life is not a series of highs and lows. Life is a series of highs and rests. So it is not a series of highs and lows, it's a series of highs and rests, right? If you think about your everyday, you work, you play, you have fun, you eat, and then you go to bed. You work, you play, you have fun, you eat, and then you go to bed, right? You don't work, play, have fun, and then torture yourself for the next 8 hours and then go back to having fun, right? You literally go through a cycle of energetic motion and then rest and sleep. Energetic motion, rest and sleep. And that's how your mental state is supposed to be too. And this is an opportunity to practice emotional control, right? So oh, good, you have that graph up. Let me just make that the center of my screen here. So pay no attention to the words. Those do not apply. We just want to look at the graph, right? This blue line is how people view life and how life can exist if you permit it to exist, right? Highs on the up curve, lows below the black line, or zero on the down curve. Or the upside down parabola, if I'm saying that mathematically correct. And so what it really is supposed to look like, and if you can trace this with your mouse, that'd be great, is the upright
if I do that?
Yes, yep, I can see all mouse motion. So just start at that first one and make the arc not the other end. I'm not sure why it's backwards for me, right? So this is what your state of life is supposed to be like. You climb, you hit that high, and then you come down from that high. And when you make it to zero, you go, you level out like the mouse, and then you go into your next high. And you come down off that gradually, and then you go into a state of rest, right? That's the black, that's the zero. The idea here is you never have to enter into a state of negativity, depression, recession. Well, I shouldn't say no recession, because you will recede off that high, but you'll recede into a state of relaxation rather than all the way past zero into a state of depression, right? So the idea is you have to identify that as you're coming down off a high, that it's okay to come down off a high, and that it's natural, and that all it is you need a break. You don't need to enter into a place of negativity. You don't need to go past zero. You just need to come back down to zero, take a break, relax. Maybe it means being alone, being separate. And then after you spend some time in zero, right? I don't know how many, if you put little tick marks on that, maybe it's 8 points in a state of climax for your mood, and then 8 points in a state of rest, and vice versa, or on and on, whatever.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's so, like, this is a great lesson because it's so critically important how important rest is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you see it in the Bible. God rests on the seventh day. Right. You see night and day. Right. There's night and day. It's a cycle of life.
Flowers opening.
Life. Yep. Life and death.
Wanes.
Yep.
Yep. It is the natural order of the universe.
Right. And if we have that mindset, and if we use rest to your advantage,
yeah,
then and so seriously, your performance actually goes up, increases.
Yeah, that's
you know how to rest, right?
Even higher.
But the hard thing is when you're resting, right? The hard thing is to rest, is to pull back.
Yeah, and to be okay.
Yeah, and to be okay with that, right? And be okay with whatever's happening around you. I mean, sometimes it's really important. A lot of times it's not, and you need to be in that moment and have peace with just resting.
So, right, here's the belief we encourage you to adopt, right? Is to recognize that you will hit highs, and those are natural and good. And then as you come off those highs, that's your cue for you to take a break from whatever you're doing, right? And not to go past zero, but to simply take a break before you go back into another high. And so what that would look like in real life is like this. Maybe you're hanging out with your friends, right? And it's getting more and more fun, more and more fun. You go from one place to the next. First, you guys were, you spent the day at the beach. Now you're at the bar. Now you're at the bowling alley. You guys had great dinner. You're all hanging out. You go home, you do, and then everybody leaves, right? And you feel yourself coming down off that high. That's your opportunity, right? This is your train coming down the mountain here. Get off the station at zero. Oh, my friends all left. That's because I need a break, right? But instead, what we do is we tell ourselves, oh, man, I really wish that could never have ended. And we let ourselves go way past the train station at zero. Right. And we miss that rest stop, and we get depressed. Oh, I wish my friends would stay overnight. Or, oh, my friends left me. I can't believe it. They all went home and they didn't want to hang out longer. Or because they need to rest too. Don't forget, they need to rest too, just like you, mentally and physically. And instead, we think, oh, if only that day had lasted longer, it would have been better, But no, it's natural, Or any situation, you're like, you reach out to someone, you guys are having a great conversation, and then they vanish, and you're like, oh, the conversation's gone. Oh, they don't care about me, right? No, get off the train at zero, right? Oh, we had a great conversation. It's time to put the phone down and go do other things, or it's time to put the phone down and actually sleep, or go back to my work day, or whatever, right? Instead of going past zero and going, oh, they don't care about me. Oh, they didn't answer my text. Oh, they left me on red, right? That's called missing the train station at 0. That's going past the point of rest. And you will enter into a state of depression or sadness or desperateness. But what a healthy balance and cycle would look like is, hey, we had this great text conversation. Now they left me on red. They must be busy. I should probably put the phone down and take a break anyway, or I'll talk to someone else because I need a break from talking to them, right? And just recognizing it as, okay, it'll pick back up later. Like, it's all right to stop doing what I'm doing and to embrace the moment for what it is, even though it's not what I want or not my expectation.
Right. No, I think that's great right there.
You got any final thoughts?
Make sure you get off the train at 0.
Yeah. And again, that's the benefit of the upper limits problem is knowing you're going to peak out, even if it's subconsciously, and you're going to come down. You're going to hit the point of recession. As you come down, it's all right. Catch the train at 0. Don't go past the station into the freaking dark woods over there or whatever. Like, get off where you need to get off, and accept the moment, accept the recession of
Right.
mood, and embrace
Ride it out. Yep. Ride it out.
Be okay with it. So I challenge you to take on this belief and try it out for a limited amount of time. Even if you don't want to adopt it for good, just give it a trial, right? Start viewing your life as highs and moments of rest. Highs and moments of rest, right? That's all it is.